As I was walking, a thought came to me that I should just bury the body than make everything go away.
Inside the High Court in Bayelsa State, a man named Joseph Fala was kneeling on the floor. He was crying and shaking because he knew his life was about to change forever. Joseph was not a career criminal or a famous thief, but he had done something so terrible that the judge had no choice but to give him the hardest punishment possible. The judge looked down at him and said that Joseph Fala was guilty of murder. Because of what he did to a young woman named Kate Osu, the judge sentenced him to death by hanging. Joseph begged for mercy and said he was a man of peace, but the evidence against him was too strong to ignore. He had killed someone who trusted him and then tried to hide the body in a hole under a bed. This is the story of how a small fight over 50,000 Naira led to a shallow grave and a death sentence that shocked the whole country. Joseph Fala was a man who worked in an office for an oil and gas company in Port Harcourt. People who knew him thought he was a good person who worked hard and followed the rules. He had a nice 2-bedroom apartment in a place called the Okaka community, which is in the Yenagoa local government area of Bayelsa State. Because his job was in a different city, Joseph was not always at home in his apartment. He only came back sometimes to fix things or check on the house. In February 2022, a young woman named Kate Osu reached out to him because she was in big trouble. Kate was a friend of Joseph's younger sister, and she needed a place to stay for a few months. She had planned to move to Lagos, but the person she was supposed to live with changed their mind at the last minute. Joseph decided to be kind and let her stay in one of his rooms for 4 months while she figured out her life. It seemed like a very nice thing to do for a friend in need. For a few months, everything seemed to be going well between Joseph and Kate. Kate lived in one of the bedrooms, and Joseph stayed in the living area when he visited from Port Harcourt. However, things started to go wrong in July 2022 because of money and business. Kate knew that Joseph used to trade something called Forex, which is a way of buying and selling different types of money to make a profit. She wanted Joseph to take her money and trade it for her so she could make more money quickly. Joseph told her no many times because he had a very strict rule about not touching other people's money. He told her he could teach her how to do it herself, but he would not do it for her. Even though he said no, Kate did not stop asking him. One night, while Kate was visiting her family, she asked Joseph for his bank account details and he gave them to her. A few minutes later, Joseph got a message on his phone saying that Kate had sent him 50,000 Naira. Joseph was very confused when he saw the money in his bank account. He asked Kate why she sent it since he already said he would not trade for her. At first, Kate told him the money was to help take care of the house because she wanted to bring some guests over to visit. Joseph thought this was okay and agreed that the money could count as part of her stay. But the very next day, Kate changed her story and started demanding that Joseph use the money for Forex trading. She told him that she expected to get 20,000 Naira back every single month for 5 months. Joseph tried to explain to her that this was impossible because no bank or business could give that much profit on such a small amount of money. He realized that Kate did not understand how money worked, and he told her he would just give her the 50,000 Naira back in 5 days. He wanted the problem to go away, but he did not have the cash ready right that moment. Unfortunately, the 5 days passed and Joseph could not pay her back because other bills had come up. When Joseph did not pay the money back on time, Kate became very angry. Instead of waiting a few more days, she started doing things to hurt Joseph's reputation. She found out where he worked in Port Harcourt and started sending messages to the people he worked with. She called him a criminal and a scammer and told everyone that he had stolen her money. Joseph had only just started his new job, and he was very scared that his boss would believe Kate's lies. He tried to call her and tell her to stop, but she would not listen to him at all. She was shouting and saying mean things every time they spoke on the phone. Joseph decided that he had to travel from Port Harcourt back to Bayelsa State to talk to her in person. He hoped that if they sat down together, they could settle the argument and he could go back to his job in peace. He arrived at the apartment on July 25, 2022, but the energy in the house was very bad. When Joseph Fala arrived at his apartment in the Okaka community, he could see immediately that Kate Osu was still very furious. It was late in the evening, around 9 p.m., and he decided it was best not to talk to her right away because she looked like she wanted to fight. He went to his room and tried to sleep, but Kate would not let him rest. She was in the house with a young child who belonged to one of the neighbors. When Joseph asked why the child was there so late, Kate started screaming at him. She told him to mind his own business and that she could do whatever she wanted. Joseph reminded her that it was his house, but she just kept shouting for about 20 minutes. Joseph stayed quiet because he did not want to make things worse, hoping that she would be calmer in the morning. But the next day was even worse, and Joseph realized he could not leave for Port Harcourt until this was settled. Joseph stayed away from the house during the day to give Kate some space, hoping her anger would go down. On Thursday, July 28, 2022, he came back to the apartment and tried one last time to talk to her. He told her that he would definitely pay her the 50,000 Naira at the end of the month when he got paid by his clients. But Kate had changed her mind again, and now she wanted even more money. She told him she wouldn't accept just the 50,000 Naira anymore. She wanted an extra 20,000 Naira as interest for making her wait. Joseph tried to explain that the month wasn't even over yet, so he shouldn't have to pay interest yet. Kate got even louder and started threatening him. She said her aunt was a powerful policewoman and that she would make sure Joseph went to jail. The argument got very heated, and suddenly Kate pushed Joseph hard. Joseph pushed her back, and she fell onto the bed in a sitting position. Please take a moment to subscribe to our channel, Tremendous Crime in History. We share these real-life stories to show the truth about what happens in our world. By subscribing, you help us keep making these videos so that victims like Kate Osu are never forgotten. We work hard to bring you the facts and the most important details of every case. If you want to see more crime stories and learn about how the law works in real life, hit the subscribe button right now. It is the best way to support the channel and make sure you never miss an update. What happened next was a moment of panic that led to a terrible crime. After Kate fell on the bed, she opened her mouth to scream for help. Joseph was terrified that the neighbors would hear her and come running in. He thought that if the neighbors saw them fighting, they would automatically believe Kate and think he was trying to hurt her. To stop her from screaming, Joseph rushed over and put his hand over her mouth. Kate fought back with all her strength and bit his hand very hard. They started struggling and rolling around, moving from the bed down to the floor. In the middle of the struggle, Joseph wrapped his hands around Kate's neck and squeezed as hard as he could. He wanted her to stop fighting and stop trying to scream, but he squeezed for too long. Suddenly, Kate stopped moving. Joseph realized with horror that she was dead. After Joseph realized he had killed Kate, he did not know what to do. He walked out of the house, wandering around the neighborhood while his mind was racing. He was a man who had never been in trouble with the law, and now he was a murderer. Instead of going to the police station to tell the truth, he decided to try and hide what he had done. Later that night, he went to a neighbor and asked to borrow a shovel. He lied and said he needed to do some maintenance work inside his apartment. He went back into the room where Kate's body was lying on the floor. He looked around and found a spot on the floor that did not have tiles on it. He began to dig a hole in the dirt. It was very hard work and took him many hours, but he eventually made a shallow grave right there in the bedroom. He placed Kate's body inside and covered it with soil. Joseph spent the rest of the night trying to act like nothing had happened. He returned the shovel to his neighbor and walked away for a while. He did not come back to the house until it was very late at night. He tried to sleep, but he could not close his eyes until 3 in the morning. He had just buried a person in his own house, and the weight of that secret was very heavy. He hoped that if he stayed quiet, nobody would ever find out what happened to Kate. But Joseph did not realize that the people who loved Kate would not just let her disappear without asking questions. He was about to find out that a mother's love and a father's suspicion are much stronger than any lie a killer can tell.
The day after the murder, something very strange happened. Joseph was sitting in his house, trying to act like everything was normal, even though a dead body was buried just a few feet away. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. It was Kate's mother. She had come all the way to the apartment because she was worried about her daughter. She had not heard from Kate, and she had a very bad feeling. Joseph opened the door and let her in, pretending to be a helpful friend. He looked her right in the eye and told her a huge lie. He said he had no idea where Kate was and that she must have gone out somewhere. The mother stayed for a while, looking around the house. She even had a spare key that Kate had given her, but she didn't see anything suspicious yet. Joseph thought he had gotten away with it, but he didn't know that the truth was about to come out. That night, Kate's mother went to sleep, but she could not rest. According to the reports, Kate appeared to her mother in what seemed like a dream. In the dream, Kate told her mother exactly what had happened. She said that Joseph Fala had killed her and that her body was hidden inside the house. The dream was so real and so scary that the mother woke up shaking. She told her husband about it, and they both decided that they had to go back to the apartment immediately. They didn't care if it was early in the morning, they needed to find out the truth. When they arrived on Friday, July 29, 2022, they brought the police with them. They were not going to take no for an answer this time. Joseph was still there, but he looked very nervous when he saw the police officers standing behind Kate's parents. If you are finding this story as shocking as we are, please write the word justice in the comments section below. When the police entered the room where Kate had been staying, they noticed something very odd. The room did not have a door on it anymore, and the floor looked like it had been disturbed recently. The police officers began to ask Joseph very tough questions. At first, he tried to keep up his lie, saying he didn't know anything, but the police are trained to see when someone is lying. They told him they were going to start digging up the floor if he didn't start talking. Joseph realized that he could not hide the truth any longer. His voice cracked, and he finally confessed. He pointed to the spot in the bedroom and told them that Kate was under the dirt. The police got their tools and started to dig. As the dirt was moved away, they found the body of the young woman. Kate's mother fell to the floor and started crying very loudly. The news of the discovery spread through the Ojaka community very fast. A huge crowd of people gathered outside the house, shouting and screaming. Some people were saying that Joseph must be a Yahoo boy, which is a term for someone who does internet scams. Others claimed he was a secret pastor who was actually evil. The rumors were flying everywhere because people could not believe a regular man could do something so heartless. Joseph was quickly taken away by the police to the State Criminal Investigation Department to keep him safe from the angry crowd. He told the police he wasn't a ritualist or a scammer. He was just a man who had made a terrible mistake because he was scared. But the police knew that killing someone and burying them in a bedroom is a very serious crime that requires a trial. Joseph was kept in a cell while the police gathered all the evidence. They spoke to the neighbor who lent him the shovel. They looked at the messages Kate had sent to his workplace. They looked at the bank records for the 50,000 Naira. Everything showed that there was a big fight before Kate died. Joseph told the police his side of the story, but he could not explain why he didn't call for help when the struggle was happening. He could not explain why he chose to dig a grave instead of calling a doctor. The police finished their investigation and handed the case over to the court. Joseph knew he was in deep trouble, but he hoped the judge would understand that he didn't mean to kill her. He didn't know that the law in Bayelsa State is very strict about murder.
The trial of Joseph Fala lasted for 3 long years. During this time, the lawyers had many arguments in court. Joseph's lawyers tried to say that he was not in his right mind when he killed Kate. They argued that Kate had provoked him by shouting and pushing him, and that he was only trying to defend himself. They even tried to say he was temporarily insane because he was so stressed. But the judge did not believe these stories. The judge said that if Joseph was really acting in self-defense, he should have called the police immediately. The fact that he borrowed a shovel, dug a grave for hours, and then lied to Kate's mother proved that he knew exactly what he was doing. He was trying to cover up a crime, not report an accident. In December 2025, the final day of the trial arrived at the Bayelsa State High Court. The judge read out the charges: murder, misconduct in handling a dead body, and burying someone in an unlicensed place. Joseph was found guilty of these things. Before the judge gave the final sentence, Joseph knelt down in the courtroom. He begged Kate's family to forgive him. He said he was a Christian and that he had always tried to live a good life. He mentioned his late mother and said he never wanted to have trouble with a woman. But his words could not bring Kate back to life. The judge looked at the law and saw that the punishment for taking a life on purpose is death. Joseph Fala was sentenced to die by hanging on December 21, 2025. This story teaches us some very important lessons. First, it shows us how dangerous it is to let anger take control. Joseph and Kate were arguing over money, and that argument ended in 2 lives being ruined. If Joseph had just walked away, or if Kate had been more patient, both of them would be okay today. Second, it teaches us that you cannot hide the truth forever. Joseph tried to bury his secret under the floor, but it still came out. We must always be honest, even when we make a mistake. If Joseph had reported the accident immediately, he might have had a different sentence. By trying to hide the body, he made everything much worse for himself and for Kate's family. We must learn to settle our problems with words and calm hearts. Thank you for watching this episode on tremendous crime in history. This case of Joseph Fala and Kate Osu is a reminder that the choices we make in just a few minutes can change everything forever. We hope this story has taught you something important about the law and about being a good neighbor. Please do not forget to subscribe to our channel for more stories like this. Your support helps us keep telling these real-life stories. Like this video and share it with your friends so they can also learn these lessons. Remember, the truth always finds a way to the surface, no matter how deep you try to bury it. We will see you in the next story for another look into the shocking events of history. Stay safe and always choose peace over anger.